Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Ori and the Blind Forest Randomizer Tournament. This is our second race of the day, and this is going to be a super fun one. I cannot wait to commentate this. And commentating with me, Clean Phil, is Gramelius.
Yo, how's it going?
Going good. Fun evening, good day, and gonna round it off with some awesome Ori randomizer. So, Grim, tell me about what we are going to see tonight.
Yeah, so this match we have coming up is RainbowPoogle versus Richard. This is a match that I found very, very difficult to predict. We do have predictions in our, challenge page, but I kind of just picked sort of based on a coin flip. I could see this going either way. To introduce Poogle first, Poogle is someone who's not new to the Ori community, but relatively new. She joined, I don't remember the exact time, maybe like a year ago or something like that, and has spent a lot of time at the randomizer. So I'd say that Poogle's knowledge is probably greater than Richard's. As for execution, that's where I feel like they are pretty evenly matched. Does that sound kind of correct to you so far?
No, yeah, Richard was in both of the All Skills tournaments, but this is his first randomizer tournament. So yeah, he is also fairly new to the logic and how these rando seeds go. So as far as I guess how again, the execution and logic kind of pairs up with these two racers, it balances really well. So I am super excited, and I can't tell you who's going to win this. We'll just have to wait and find out.
Yeah, we'll be getting kicked off very shortly here. I see the SRL race counting down. We have that lovely Kuro transition. Also, quick shout out to Wilson, who made a new sort of short intro for us. I'd actually never seen it before, so well done. I always enjoy watching this.
Oh yeah, those are super fun.
Just in case we didn't say it explicitly, this is a 1-0 match. So Poogle in her first round beat Grease, and Richard beat Lack. Just so that information is stated. This is a 1-0 match. Reminder as we are continuing in the Swiss. Okay, I'm going to finish my thought. Reminder as we go on that runners are going to need to have 3 wins. They need at least a 3-2 record to get out of the brackets. But Clean, I'll let you talk about that next thing.
Yeah. So we got our first pickup here, which is double jump, which is, it's definitely just one of the most convenient skills to have early on. Just so much can be open. And oh, that's a swamp TP I see as well. Also, got an interesting start here for you guys.
I saw Poogle wiggling her mouse a little bit, just probably out of some excitement. Wait. Poogle was drawing out letters. We're gonna need an image recognition expert to go frame by frame and figure out what she said. For now, let's just assume she said, "Good luck, Richard. I hope the best for you." Let's just assume she said that.
That's what she said with that tiny mouse movement. I thought it was like a heart, but who knows? We could figure that out later. But for now, we have more pickups here. We got 2 more before we find out where Poogle and Richard are going to go. We get 1 keystone, so halfway to opening up this door. But
this next pickup is important. If it's a keystone, which we'll find out right about now, it is a keystone, which means that both runners are almost certainly going to continue off to the left. They're also both going to check fake flippers. I missed what it was. It's a lot of experience. So this is interesting. Richard decided... no clean water. Richard decided to skip it. Poogle decided to keep it. Of course, getting ability cells is not strictly progression as far as a skill, but that's 3 immediate level ups. And Clean... I know why, but as a rhetorical question, why do you say that we're not going to find clean water now?
Because how the XP usually works in a randomizer seed is the farther in the logic goes, the maximum number an XP can get starts to increase. The minimum never changes. You still may have like small numbers far in the logic, but for the most part, you'll have pretty big numbers. Now, that isn't the biggest number in the world. You can get up to like 600 XP, but still 250. That gotta mean that clean water, we may not have that for a while, but what we do have is bash.
We not only have bash, we also have charge jump. We have 3 now. We have double jump, we have bash, and we have charge jump as 3 early skills. These are wonderful, wonderful abilities. Interesting that we still don't have any wall interaction, although we do have fake wall interaction in the form of double jumping.
Oh my gosh.
We'll see how much that comes into play. We've already seen both Richard and Poogle abuse that a little bit. I would expect them to probably continue doing so until we find some real wall interaction.
Yeah, so but for now, you could basically get grenade, and you have pretty much every form of verticality we can get here. So gotta love a nice vertical start to this seed.
So Richard on the right, I think, is just a little bit in the lead for the time being, and the reason for that is that Richard decided to not keep that 253 experience from fake flippers. So Poogle is, a little bit behind as far as the straight progression path, which for the time being is rather linear, but does have those 3 extra ability points that she got right at the start. So those might come into play later. Richard then, of course, being the first to hit the wall jump tree.
Yeah, I'd say it is still really good that Poogle has all those, because if either of them decided to go into BRB, Poogle would have a much, I guess, more comfortable time because early ability points, while Richard's still, I mean, he's got one to skip the first cutscene, but I mean, still, you'd like just like a ton, so you could skip all those essays in BRB.
So this is interesting, and I guess I'm going to direct this question to you. If you are these runners and you've already been to wall jump, you've kind of explored that area, you have bash, you have charge jump, and you have double jump, where do you go next? It seems clear that Richard is deciding to go back off to the left to check this pickup in Spirit Caverns, but what are the options?
Yeah, so there is that early swamp TP. Now those are always gambles, because sometimes the logic requires a teleporter, but sometimes it'll just if it's not required, it'll just place it throughout randomly, and you might be a chance that we got it this early on. I'd say a cleanup here is good, because once you go into those swamp and grove and grotto areas, it might take a while before you decide to come back here. So I'd say it's good to get a cleanup here.
This is kind of fascinating, by the way. We have both runners in about the same spot. The reason is that Richard hit the wall jump tree first, then alt-art and came back through to check a one-off ability cell above the health cell in Glades. Poogle, for her part, decided to not alt-art and just use charge jump to get up around. We also do have enough keystones, that's what I'm looking for, to get through this door, and both runners are doing this. I like this play. I mean, it's impossible to say what the objectively correct play is because we don't know where the next important item is, but I do like this play.
Yeah, I'd say Grove TP is always good. The only reason this isn't the best play in the world because you cannot get to those quick pickups there and Valley entry, and now Richard is doing some hearts with his mouse.
Those are pretty clearly hearts rather than I think Poogle was writing out words before. We'll have to ask her after the match what she was saying.
Man, but getting really too into this. This is fine.
Both runners are deciding to watch this cutscene. It is skippable if you do a save anywhere, but skipping the cutscene saves you time at a cost. The cost being, 1, you don't get the teleporter activated unless you happen to find the Grove teleporter through an item pickup, and 2, sign gets all messed up and you can't refill your health and energy. So this early in the game, it's pretty likely we'll be coming back here. So we see both runners just taking the early hit.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad decision at all, and interesting way to get to that XP from Richard's side. Poogle decided to just do some charge jumps on the logs, but Richard using those double bashes to his advantage there. So that quite easily, and
Poogle just decided to wreck that thing. Was that glide? I think that was glide.
I think it was grenade, actually.
Was it grenade? It started with a G and it was green.
We have a lot of skills in this game that start with the same letter. Do you notice that? Like charge, jump, climb.
Yeah.
It's like, what is
petition to rename everything? It was grenade. Okay, so let's all take a deep breath. All right, everyone, calm down. Everyone, calm down.
I'm good. I'm calm.
You're calm.
I'm right.
All right,
Yeah.
I'm not calm. The reason I'm
not calm
is
at all.
that
I like.
We have so many options. Richard has 4 energy, which means he can go to Grotto. We can also go around, because we have grenade now, we have the ability to break through walls, which means we could go around Spider Sack. We could also teleport to Swamp and go either direction, going to Iceless area, or going all the way around the long route to Grotto, or we could go to Blackroot. We have a lot of options. They're all pretty dense, and they all kind of lead towards dense areas with trees.
So what you're saying is pretty much anything could happen right now.
That's precisely what I'm saying. Oh, and to top it all off, with that grenade find, we have 2 skills. You know which ones they are: bash, and the other one is grenade. A combination that is, for some people, really good, and for some people, less good than that.
That's right.
Does that sum it all up?
Yeah, pretty good. And both decided to get BRB out of the way. I like this. Charge jump doesn't make BRB incredibly fast, but it does speed it up. And doing it this early on with these skills, I'd say it's a good call.
I agree. I mean, reminder that this is clues mode. I'm sure most of you watching know this, but this is clues mode, which means that one way or another, we have to get to all the skill trees eventually to finish the seed. But at skill trees 3, 6, and 9, we get a clue. And usually the 3 skill trees that you get are pretty limited. In this seed, you could get to a lot of them. We even have not a lot of keystones, but a fair number of keystones. So I do like the play to head into BRB, get it out of the way early, and try to get skill tree number 3 and get that first clue.
Ooh, Pool takes a bit of a death there. Try and get that pickup, but I did like the play to go up there. Now that you have grenade, you have a few grenade pickups in Glades open to your liking. So went ahead, got that one, checked it out. It wasn't anything that she needed, so just kept on going. So now they're going to go into the dash tree room, and I think they can actually check the dash plant here. So a nice clear of BRB.
That's a nice one. Dash plant is I mean, there are a lot of potentially troublesome pickups, but the dash plant is a pickup that very rarely gets checked in rando seeds because you need a combination of skills to check it. You need to be able to break blue plants, and you need to be able to get up there. And there are multiple ways to do that, as there are multiple ways to do most things in Ori. It is nice that we can get it out of the way. That's just one more one-off that they won't have to come back for later.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we do see both runners correctly utilizing their bash grenades to get up to this lever quickly without having to waste time on the platform. So that's a good awareness from both of them. You always have to do a lot of on-the-fly thinking playing rando. So
yeah, that's
awareness.
Definitely one of the biggest time saves in BRB. This room can be super slow, but nice job making it fast and easy. And we did get our first clue, and we also got another key. It wasn't the key we were looking for that we got in the clue, but we got the water vein was the swamp, and then right over in the crushers is the sunstone.
So that's potentially huge. That's huge for the obvious reason that we're going to need the sunstone before the end, and now we have it. It's also very interesting because we got the water vein clue, right?
Yeah, we did get
Yeah, so that means that although we still need to hit trees just to finish the seed, we kind of no longer, we being, of course, Richard and Poogle, no longer need to rush trees for the purpose of getting clues, because we already have the only relevant clue we care about, because we have the sunstone when we have the water vein clue.
And it does tell us that the sunstone is dash locked. So, gotta wonder where dash could possibly be.
We know it's not in Horu, so that doesn't narrow it down at all.
Yeah, I mean, we pretty much have the entire right side, so yeah, just flip a coin, anything could be it.
Yeah, so to check in again, we see Poogle on the left heading down into this boulder area we call Raziel No, after a meme from one of the last tournaments. The reason she's going here is to grab a handful of pickups, even though it's actually it's technically still in logic, I think, right now. But one way or another, she's going to go here. She's going to get rewarded with a handful of pickups and the Blackroot teleporter for later. So that'll be neato.
And we also got interesting strat here from Pool. She's going to use the Frankie to open up the floor to get to Grotto from Blackroot. That's a pretty interesting play.
It is. This is something that, and we were sort of talking about this before the stream clean. Poogle is someone who I feel pretty comfortable saying is known for doing a lot of sequence breaks. These aren't like absurd sequence breaks, but a lot of people wouldn't go for these, especially because Richard has 4 energy and we have the swamp TP. There's a lot of things that Poogle could very comfortably do without sequence breaking, but Poogle just, I think, really enjoys those sequence breaks.
Yeah, we don't need to actually follow the game. I mean, technically with the rando, we're already breaking the game. Poogle just wants to break it a little more.
Well, and to be clear on the way that we progress through the world, getting to Grotto is in logic because we have a number of ways to get there. We could go around Spider Sack, we could go to Swamp TP. The particular method that Poogle is using to enter Grotto is not in logic, but she could get to the same area that she's in now. So anything she finds here is still in sequence, and something that, more to the point, Richard, who's going to be heading down into this lower Grotto area in just a moment as well, he will also be probably checking all these same things, probably in the same order, to be honest.
Yeah, that you mentioned, yeah, so Glide and Wind Restored, which Poogle just found, is indeed in logic right now. So very convenient right next to each other. That was kind of nice.
So Clean, I have to ask, I'm just going to ask a very pointed question. Are we in go mode?
I'd say, I'm thinking, I think we still need a way to break a few of the walls in the final escape, like such as Charge Flame could do that, or if we get Climb, we could do a Climb Charge Jump, or do some. If we get Dash, we could do a Charge Dash. Basically, I think we just need one more of anything, and we could do it.
That's right. There is always a question of what any particular runner is comfortable with, but Poogle is someone with a lot of rando knowledge. Richard is someone with, probably less rando knowledge, but still a lot of it. And Richard's just been around Ori for a long time. He's watched a lot of Randomizer as well. Richard on the right picking up his glide as well. I am going to be very, very curious to see where these runners go first. Like, to be honest, I'm kind of going through it in my own head, trying to figure out what the optimal order would be. And it's a challenging set of calculations to run through on the fly.
No, yeah. I mean, some people will like stuff like this, and then you'll have, like, there's two types of folks I feel. People who enjoy having the whole world right there open and they can pick where they want to go. But then some people who are like, I can't handle the stress. I mean, there's so much open. It's kind of overwhelming in a way. But so yeah, I'd say, I mean, it can both be a good and bad situation. And it's just about keeping your head straight as like, all right, I'm going to do this area, then I'll go over here, then I'll see what I can find. And it looks like, I don't believe Poogle checked the left grotto down here. And didn't look like it had too much of value. And it looks like Poogle is heading to Valley Entry.
I wonder if Poogle's just going to continue on to the left side. The logic expects you to have both Bash and Stomp to get over here. But of course, Poogle, being the experienced runner that she is, can almost certainly do a double Bash trick with the Frankie instead to get through, which would get her left side access. With Glide and Wind Restore, that would get her quite a lot. I think now would also be a good time to point out, sort of reiterate, well, I'm going to go ahead and break my own thought. I was going to talk about the Kuro kill plane and how Stomp deactivates it. Instead, I'm going to mention that we just found the Sorrow teleporter.
That is, you could argue, maybe the most useful teleporter, question mark, because it allows you to, again, yeah, you can get right to the Charge Flame tree if you just are in fact in go mode, and then you can ignore, if you do have Stomp and you have a kill plane, you can just ignore it by heading to Sorrow, and then just heading down through Sorrow to get to that Kuro Rock plane just like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, we do see some unique checks on both sides. Poogle is continuing on, despite finding the Sorrow TP, is continuing on with this Frankie trick. She's going to be baiting it over to the left and then attempting to double bash it upwards and not kill either the Frankie or herself, whereas Richard is going through this iceless area named after a particularly difficult jump in that area. Richard, we also saw use Glide and Wind Restore to go check the ability cell to the left of Ginso. Richard's also making this trek into Horror Fields, although I doubt he'll go much past this this first health cell.
So yeah, yeah, that's pretty much one of the Horror Field things that everyone will check because it's just right there, and it is in logic with that Baleen lure. Turn out just be a keystone, so we're just gonna keep on looking. And again, yeah, Poogle is she's determined to do this, and yes, this is I wouldn't say the hardest lure to do, but it could be pretty finicky to get that Frankie over their spikes.
Well, it's finicky enough to deal with the Frankie, but Poogle's also chilling at 3 health. Only 3 health. Richard currently has more, but I'm fairly certain that that's from a Mega Health rather than a health cell pickup. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I think so. And also just with this grove clearing, and I think also in left Grotto, Richard has 2 more energy than Poogle currently does. So, so far with no dash doesn't allow for too much of a big advantage, but it's still just always nice to have just as you can get.
Definitely, definitely. It is nicer with bash grenades, even though we don't have dash. We can do. I keep saying we. Richard and Poogle can do these long series of extended bash glides with feather, and even in some places using wind restored for additional distance, which gets you quite a bit of speed. So yeah, Richard is just continuing to be very, very thorough. Of course, Richard doesn't have the Sorrow TP that Poogle does. At least I don't think he does. Poogle is continuing on. We still don't have wall interaction, by the way, Clean. Let's just remind everyone of that.
We have the double jump wall interaction, which
fake wall interaction.
Yeah, we got the quote unquote, and you know, I guess I could see that. I mean, we have bash grenade and we have charge jump and glide and wind restore. So yeah, at this point, I mean, you could start thinking about, I could do a final escape with the wall interaction. Who needs it?
Well, the wall interaction is one thing. As we mentioned, they are going to need some way to break the walls in the final escape, which isn't usually the gatekeeper as far as being able to survive the whole trek, but in this case it is. So we're going to need to find dash or stomp or climb or charge flame. I guess any of those things would do the trick.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying about. I'm thinking at least just one more skill. I'd say, yeah, besides stomp or wall jump, getting one of those skills could get the go mode that we're looking for.
I want to point out something else. Poogle on the left using her extensive pool of random knowledge, recognizing that she already had the Sunstone. When you get the Sunstone in this game, it spawns what we call the Wilhelm frog because it makes a Wilhelm screen when you toss it off the ledge. It also shoots projectiles, and those projectiles can be used to break the rocks much more easily and probably more quickly as well than doing fast stompless. And Poogle recognized that and used the frog rather than doing fast stompless. That's going to get her access into Valley, which she kind of already had. So as before, we'll kind of see how thorough Poogle continues to be, and when and if she decides to rush trees instead.
Yeah, I'd say so far, Poogle is deciding to go for trees a bit more earlier, but Richard is still, I'd say, doing a pretty good job of thoroughly cleaning out all of the grove and the swamp loop area. He picked up a spirit life efficiency and just looks like he's picking up more health and stomp. So there's that.
I want to quickly draw attention.
And wall jump. Well, there you go.
No, you go ahead. Wall jump is extremely exciting. That's a very useful skill that is technically not going to be required, and he got the water vein. Okay, both of those are very, very powerful pickups.
So I would say that...
Wait, yes, stomp? When did he get stomp?
He just got stomp.
Did he just get all three?
He got stomp, wall jump, and water vein in a succession in this mortar worm area. So that's a pretty powerful area right now.
That's incredible. Suddenly, Richard is going to be able to move around the world much more easily, not having to deal with that fake double jump stuff. Stomp is also going to be useful in a lot of areas, but especially getting to the light grenade tree, which we're still going to have to do. It is possible to use bash or climb charge jump if it comes to that. But stomp is much more easier, and having the water vein is of course required to finish the seed. That's an area that I'm hoping Poogle will go through when she goes to swamp, and when she does, I'm sure, given how thorough she's being, she will likely find everything she needs anyway. It's just a matter of when she's going to do that.
Yeah, with all those pickups being such very close together, I'm certain that Poogle will indeed find, along with the water vein, stomp, and wall jump. Yeah, it's just about the factor of when will she decide, hey, I'm gonna go get the water vein and do my bash tree. It's just, will she go ahead and finish all the left trees first, or it's just, yeah, it's all a very interesting decision here. And you know, something that Richard now does have is he does have access to lower BRB with the grenade tree without doing the Frankie lore.
He does. So let's kind of take stock. By the way, while we've been talking, Poogle's been really thoroughly working her way through Misty, checking, I think, every pickup she can. All the spikes in Misty would deal 3 damage. And if you're familiar with math, Poogle only has 3 health, which means that any touching of these spikes spells immediate death just like that. Poogle is being, I think, pretty smart with their safety saves, also being pretty low on energy, to be honest. So this is not the easiest Misty traversal.
Oh yeah, you gotta give Google props. Decided 3 health, 3 energy. Misty's fine. Misty's free.
Totally free. I would not be surprised to see Poogle make, some additional safety saves. She doesn't have far to go to climb anyway. Meanwhile, Richard on the right side is heading into double jump. This is something that Poogle did quite a bit earlier, so we know we're not going to get anything particularly amazing here. I think, unless my memory is failing me. But we do need the double jump tree, so Richard's going to get that in just a moment.
No, yeah, I think at this point he did a little bit of a cleanup. Now he's got a bunch of skills, and he's got both keys that are important to us. So I think he's just going to start doing a little bit of tree cleanup. I guess he's in a go mode as some sorts. So there you go.
He is. We saw Poogle get a 4th energy and excitedly circle her mouse around the 4 energy. I would not be surprised to see Poogle alt R and maybe head off to the right. No, just deciding to go back to the teleporter. Let's take stock clean. Let's take stock here of the trees that we have. Poogle still needs the stomp tree, still needs to go into Sorrow Pass to get charge jump, and still needs to go into Blackroot Burrows to get light grenade. So that's only and bash. So that's 4 trees left. Richard has more trees than that, but Richard also has more skills and the water vein. And so catching up on those left side pickups might take less time depending on where Poogle searches.
Yeah,
does that kind of sound correct?
Yeah, I see. I'm not sure what Poogle's correct plan is. I want to say it's doing a little bit of cleanup there, and then also start to search for the water vein because the swamp area is pretty close to here. Yeah, so a bit of cleanup there. She may just go straight for the swamp tea, but I wouldn't bet on that. I want to say she was clean, getting. So I would say she was gonna still be doing a bit of collecting here and there.
Right. Poogle also has a number of ability points. We'll see when she decides to spend them. Poogle back in Grotto, checking a number of pickups, also kind of making your way towards Swamp. And I don't remember if we have clean water. We don't have clean water this.
No, we don't. It's
this seed.
Likely, it's going to be pretty buried, sadly.
Yeah.
But that's fine.
Well, what that means is that Poogle, she actually is going to be able to go through this way. Poogle can use Grenade to break this barricade and isn't going to be able to swim through the poison water, but can use Charge Jump to enter Swamp. This is potentially bad news, actually, now that I think about it.
I actually agree.
Do you see why?
Yes, because while she can get into the swamp area, she cannot break the 2 walls that we use to break in the all skills to get into swamp, like that swamp battery. She can't break that first one right there to her left, so she can't go back and get those 3 pickups, which we all know are very, very useful pickups. So she looks like she's just going to go straight. Well, she's going to go up and check this one pickup up here, but I'm not sure what her plan is to try to find that water vein.
Well, in a seed like this, we already have the water vein clue. So with the abundance of skills that we've received so far, it's a question of when do you just continue towards trees and sort of generally checking dense areas versus explicitly looking for that water vein. Richard may have been doing a combination of both. It's something we can check with him about if he interviews with us after the seed. As for whether he was just going to Swamp and found it along the way, or whether he decided to go to Swamp because he knew the water vein was in there. Either way, he now has it, and Richard is going left side. It's kind of difficult to keep up with the seed, to be honest. There's a lot that's going on, and I'm really not sure who's in the lead. Poogle has more trees, and Poogle knows how to do sequence breaks to get to the remaining ones. But Richard has more skills, and I'm just still wondering the same as before. And sort of my long-winded answer is I really still don't know how to call this.
And so here we have Richard can actually indeed use that Sara TP because he can use Stomp to break this first wall. So this is actually something that Poogle couldn't really do. She had the Sara TP, she found the Sara TP, but she couldn't really use it because again only had charge jump, and charge jump damage boosting some of these walls can be quite annoying to do, but Stomp makes it a little easier.
Yeah, Richard is doing a good job. He looks like he's trying to bait. You can do this in multiple ways. You can double bash a spider projectile to get through it without taking damage. You can use Stomp, but it's very precise as far as its positioning. You can use Climb Charge Jump, but we don't have Climb, so you can instead do a damage boost and then do a Charge Jump in order to break that barricade, which Richard actually did successfully. It's just that with his current amount of health, he only gets one shot, right? He has to damage and get it.
That's right. And then also, so keep your eye on the left side. RainbowPoogle is in the Swamp Loop. So these are going to be some pretty important skills. I assume she will end up finding all 3 of the important pickups right here. Richard.
This would be a... I want to almost interrupt you for a second. Richard doesn't use the free double bash GLL. I don't know if we've said that. Richard uses the what we call the infinite method. That's N finite, named after the runner who discovered a more consistent way to do double bashes on controller than trying to do a ridiculous frame perfect trick. That's the method that Richard uses, and for his part, he seems to be very consistent at it. Even with ultra free double bashes, this is not the easiest trick. Got it on that attempt. We'll see if Richard drops a save. From here, he should be in the clear. He has Stomp. He has a lot of stuff. And speaking of Stomp, switch over to the left. Avert your eyes from Richard over to Poogle. We got Wall Jump. We got Stomp. We're about to get the Water Vein. Poogle's going to be a happy camper in just a moment.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what I've just noticed is that the Water Vein is actually locked by clean water. So...
Wait, Poogle... Did Poogle not check that?
She went past it. Oh, gosh.
Poogle might just be trying to be extra thorough. I mean, Poogle's been extremely thorough this whole seed. So I would be surprised if Poogle skipped that pickup entirely. I think she's probably just coming through, and now she'll check it on the way back. Yeah, so Poogle's still going to get this.
Okay, yeah, that was good stuff. Yeah, so she was just being a bit more thorough. And so, yeah, there's the Water Vein. So, yeah, interesting. It is locked by clean water. And we already know that clean water may be late in the logic. So, it'll actually be interesting to see if either runners decide to go back and find out where actually clean water is.
Well, while we have a moment, let's check in on the state of the race again. This is the sort of rando race that I feel like we need to very regularly check in on the status of both runners because it could really swing in either direction. Previously on Lost, Richard had an advantage because he got those skills in the valley and not valley entry, swamp entry area before Poogle, and as a result also got his Water Vein, and he's already been to the Bash Tree. Poogle now has all that same stuff, has the Water Vein, has Stomp, has Wall Jump. So Poogle has caught up as far as resources and skills, but has also done some of the left side of the map, specifically Misty Woods, that Richard hasn't. So that long-winded answer
is we'll have to wait and find out and see. So yeah, both are about to get to their 8th tree. Richard's 8th tree being Glide, and Poogle's 8th tree being Grenade. Want to kill that Frankie because screw that Frankie.
Who do you think's in the lead right now? As you said, both runners are at 8 trees, but Richard's 2 trees are Light Grenade and getting through Misty Woods to climb. Poogle has to do Light Grenade, so that's a wash, but only has to go up to Charge Jump. And given the abilities that we have, I don't think that getting to Charge Jump is going to be too problematic.
No, I'd say
running through in my head.
No, I'd say yeah, it's not too bad. And also, we also have the Ginzo tree for Poogle, and it's pretty much as fast as we can get. Right. Because it's as fast as we get because we already have pretty much all the verticality, and something like Misty Woods would be a lot easier with dash because again you'd say it's pretty horizontal, and Charge Death helps so much with that, but again we do not have dash, so again it'll be pretty interesting to see. We got Poogle's 8th tree, and Richard is halfway through Misty to get to his 9th.
Yeah, so this is actually looking more and more in favor of Richard. At this point, I think Richard is going to be pretty comfortably probably skipping most pickups, maybe checking just the quick ones that are along the way, especially because it can be a pain to revisit Misty if you ever have to. Richard is going to get to climb shortly. With Stomp and all these abilities he has, he won't have any trouble getting to Light Grenade either. more to the point, getting those abilities or those skill trees, excuse me, is going to be quite a bit faster than going all the way up through Ginso. I mean, there's only so fast you can ascend the Ginso tree, and then Poogle still has to go to Sorrow. And Clean, as the truck is pointing out, and thank you to Muffin and Gecko and Hydra for feeding us information as we go. The final escape is still sort of potentially a concern, right?
Yeah. So while Richard is sitting on a 7 health, Poogle has actually not found a single health cell because we start out the game with 3.
Oh my God, you're right.
So Poogle is at the base health, and in order, we do have Bash, so you can still get a 5 HP swim and Stomp, so you can get a 5 swim pretty easily. But oh, there's 4th health, so thank goodness. But I'd say it also incredibly useful for Poogle to get enough ability points to level up Ultra Defense, so that she technically has like 8 to 9 hits.
We'll see, and I haven't been keeping up with either runner's ability tree very well. And so I don't know how close both of them are to Ultra Defense. I guess we'll maybe get a chance to see again if they open up that ability menu, but to sort of check back in on the progress, Richard is well on his way, used Stomp to break the barricade into Lower Lost Grove, and now he's going to do a Zombie Ori, which is a very commonly used method. Does get his Ultra Defense, so what I was going to say is that if Richard has a lot of trouble with the final escape, that could be Poogle's ticket back into this thing. But with Ultra Defense and already having more health than Poogle does, I don't think that Richard is going to have too many problems either. He still might die, but it's unlikely.
Definitely. So Poogle is 1 door away to the Bash Tree. There you go. There's all the ability points we needed to, and another health cell. All right, so you could say that the final swim is not too much of a problem anymore for Poogle. She is sitting on a very comfortable amount of HP. But here's the thing: she still has 1 more tree to get. While Richard is done with his trees, he has gotten all 10. So Richard is just going to be heading straight for that Horu door, while Poogle's going to quickly be gliding up or Sorrow TPing to the charge jump tree.
I'm sure that Poogle's going to use her Sorrow TP. That's not only going to be much faster, but much easier. Getting up through the central column of Sorrow is going to be a challenge. Yep, there she goes to the Sorrow TP. We can use either climb or charge jump. When Richard came to this area, he went off to the right because he wanted to check the charge jump tree and then go back down out of Sorrow. Poogle doesn't need to concern herself with such trivialities, so she's just going to go ahead and continue. Poogle is still checking pickups. If I had to guess, probably looking for health.
Yeah, or just kind of doing those, like just checking those pickups, or just along the way to her trees and saying, hey, maybe Dash is here, maybe Clean Water's here, just hoping for that one thing that will make the escape all the much easier. But sadly, she has not been granted anything really incredibly useful, because Richard and Poogle have the same skills and same events, so pretty evenly synced final escape we're going to have here.
Well, I have to say, Clean, if anyone watching in chat, if you have to snack or go to the bathroom, don't do it. Sit right there and keep watching, because things are heating up.
Yeah,
quite literally. Get it? Because Richard's going into Mount Horu.
That's a lot of fire.
This is super close. I mean, Richard is definitely in the lead. We have both with... Do they have, the exact same skill set? Richard has more health, but they both have Ultra Defense, so it may or may not matter. Richard gets a first try Door Warp. I was going to list Door Warp as one of the potential equalizers. Not going to be the case today. Poogle needs to get a very fast Door Warp and needs Richard to make mistakes if she wants to have a chance here. Of course, she doesn't know that. Neither runner can see the other, but man, this is going to be pretty close if Richard has any mistakes.
Yeah, so pretty much one of the biggest challenges in this final escape is that the sideways wall we have to get through for the elemental room, we're going to have to damage boost in order to break it. That is the biggest, I'd say, challenge these runners have ahead of them.
Well, it's that, and we have the final poison swim, because I don't think we found Clean Water. Richard did take a death. That's potentially pretty huge. I think if I'm either of these runners, they must be panicking just a little bit. So to check in with Richard, taking some damage, might even decide to take the death. He does not. Richard, as you said, is going to have to break a barricade via Stomp, which is going to be a damage boost. That damage ordinarily does, I think, 4 damage. With Ultra Defense, that's down to 3 or 3.5. Sometimes the damage numbers can be hard. Yep, so there is at 3 health. Richard does have enough health. He has enough health to survive the Poison Swim, just
That's
barely.
Right. He does
just
have
barely.
Ultra Defense, and Poogle's in with their door up, so they're both in the escape. Richard is currently ahead, but he's got this swim to do, which he's got to damage his fish, sorry. And there you go, he makes it out with just below 1, and there you go, does not spawn the Crow Trigger, so, and that should do it.
Yep, Richard can't do his grenade jump even if he wanted to. Couldn't do fish strats, so just got out nice and clean. GG to Richard taking that victory. But don't look away. Poogle is also starting her final escape with less health than Richard, but the same skill set. What that means is that Poogle is also going to have to damage boost in the fire in just a moment. Also, thankfully, I think has certainly at least 1 health regen, maybe even all 3. So depending on what Poogle's health ends up at, we may see Poogle... Yeah, but gonna have to stomp.
Oh,
we may see Poogle
no.
to wait on health regen.
That was a death for Poogle. That was a pretty interesting. That first stomp did not break the floor, but
well, you do have to hold stomp all the way down for it to have the explosion-y stomp effect. It's possible that Poogle, maybe just out of muscle memory, accidentally let it go.
Right, it's definitely not something we're used to doing. But again, neither runner has popped on the SRL chat, so both players are probably freaking out about what is happening. But Poogle takes another death in the escape.
Well, while Poogle is continuing to bravely work her way through this fiery final escape, Richard is holding out with Naru. He'll be getting his final time shortly, and it will be a sub 40. That's impressive for any runner. So well done to Richard, finishing up with a final time of 39.52. He will be taking the victory and going up 2-0 in his bracket, putting him only 1 victory away from entering the brackets once we're all done with our Swiss stages.
That's right. And actually, very nice.
That was clever. That was really clever.
Yeah, instead of the stomp, Poogle decides to take a damage boost, then do a charge jump.
But clean. We are coming up to some water that is less clean than your name. Poogle...
Gosh.
Poogle jumped right in, does not have enough health regen. In order to survive that with her current health, Poogle is going to have no choice but to just wait until she gets just a little bit more health. This Poison Swim, in all skills, when you have Stomp and Bash, it's possible to get through taking only 4 damage. I think without... Well, no. So we can get through taking 4 damage because we have Stomp and Bash.
That's right.
But that means that Poogle is going to need, with Ultra Defense, at least 2.5 health in order to survive that swim, or at least close enough to 2.5 that her health regen can take her the rest of the way. And she's very close, but she's not at 2.5.
That's right, and I really like that strat, the charge jump wall. That's really nicely done. So Poogle's back to the swim. Oh gosh, there we go. That's like no health, and she does not get the Crow Trigger spawn.
Oh yeah, wait, my math was wrong. Poogle is way smarter than me. So Poogle, knowing what she's doing, even though we don't, made it out of the escape. So Poogle will also be just holding right, also unable to do her grenade jump or anything. GG to Poogle. That was a cool race.
That was super, super intense all the way through. Just, man. And, I mean, GG to both of them. An incredible finish for both. I mean, and look at this. This is going to be a sub 43 for both runners. I mean, you couldn't call it a jet seed. You wouldn't call it that, but I mean, still was incredibly fast. And I'd say both routed, despite having so much open so early, both routed pretty well and got the skills they needed to finish it out here.
I do see Richard on our On Deck channel, so I will be pulling him in for an interview. Not this second. I'm going to wait until Poogle's done, but then we'll pull in Richard. We'll also see whether Poogle would like to talk to us. It's always up to the runners. And after a seed like this, I wouldn't be surprised if Poogle is feeling a bit frazzled, but of course, that's not for us to decide. That's for Poogle to decide. I have a lot of questions. I don't know about you.
I have a question. Where is clean water?
I have a question. Where's anything useful? Where's dash? Where's climb?
Probably
charge
like
flame.
Progression volt. 4 energy spider sector.
It
Usually
could
where it
be
is.
a lot of places. Poogle is going to cross the finish line with a final time of 42.38. GG to Poogle.
Very nicely done. Both put on quite a performance there, and even though Poogle will lose this and go to 1-1, still very, very strong and competitive runner in 1-1 round. So I'm excited for both of these runners to continue on. Again, Richard only has one more win. If he wins his next race or wins a race in the next 3 matches he plays, he will be confirmed for the bracket stage.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and pull in Richard. Yo, Richard.
Hello, Romelios.
I'm just gonna start. I don't want to waste any time. How are you feeling about that seed? What was your impression of it?
Oh my god, my heart was racing when I died. I kept dying in sorrow. Because you just got so many skills so quickly, and the main thing was, like, I knew Poogle was getting all the same things, and I was like, I just gotta keep, like, focused so that I can actually get through this.
Right. So let's go back to that beginning. So you got
double jump
swamp
first.
You got a very convenient skill. Then you go ahead and get a swamp TP, and then pretty much get all the verticality in the entire world. So, what is going through your mind at that point? Where are you thinking that you should go first?
Well, pretty much just how I played kind of dictated where I thought I was supposed to go, because I got the swamp teleporter, and I'm like, come on, give me 2 keystones. I want to go into Glades, and then, like, the game was like, yeah, sure, you can have the 2 keystones.
That was nice. I want to ask you something else related to the fact that you got as many skills as you did. When, if ever, did you decide to completely stop checking pickups?
Okay, so the thing was, there was a point where I did stop getting pickups, as you noticed, but so a couple things that were on my mind as I was going to the end of the game. I realized when I was in Misty that, like, I don't have enough points to do everything that I want at the end of the game. So I was ultra defense away, as well as I needed to do zombie Ori, right? So I knew that I was like, I am short ability points here because I need to get ultra defense, because I didn't have charge flame and I didn't have dash, so there was no way I was going to make it through the final escape if I didn't have ultra defense, and I didn't want to watch the light grenade cutscene, because that would have been like a minute's worth of time. So I was just like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to go back and start picking things up. So it really wasn't until grenade that I was like, okay, I don't need to pick anything up anymore.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And speaking of on your way to not picking things up anymore, how did you feel getting stomp, wall jump, and water vein consecutively?
Yeah, so I knew I was doing the swamp loop. I was hoping to find the water vein at some point. I was ready to, like, just go through as much of swamp as I could have, and I was just kind of glad that I got that. The other 2 skills were kind of right there in, like, spots that you'll pretty much always get, though. So yeah, I just felt like, you know, that was whatever. But yeah, I mean, even the water vein, like, you usually check that pickup underwater too, so it's not like it's that difficult to remember.
Yeah, so another question that Muffin pointed out, and I kind of like the question, when you went over to the left side and cleared out a bunch of stuff, including the 4 energy vault down there, and afterwards you decided to alt R rather than climbing back out and going to the double jump tree. What was your logic in doing so?
Oh yeah, I mean, so I figured like, instead of kind of backtracking through all that area, I could have just, you know, like, left and not had to backtrack, so, like, collect pickups along the way, and I'm like, I'm gonna get the double jump tree at some point, but it wasn't super necessary that I, like, backtrack through. There's, like, the stompers there that you kind of have to wait on, and, like, all that kind of stuff, so I was just like, I'll just go there later.
Sounds very good. So, and again, I want to just say, so you did know how to do that, like, stomp break in the final escape. Was that pretty much the last thing you were thinking about when
Yeah.
you were thinking about the escape?
Yeah, like, you know, you always think about, like, what you need to do in the final escape, and I remember I played this seed, like, a week ago, where I didn't have charge flame, I didn't have dash, and I didn't have stomp, and I was like, can I actually do the final escape? Oh, and I didn't have like, I don't think I had like charge jump in that seat or whatever, and so I was like, I couldn't like wall charge jump that. So I was like, I was thinking about that in this one. I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to do this with Stomp because like at that point I was like, I have pretty much all the skills that I need, and then I looked at my health, and my health was like super low, so I got super worried, which is kind of why in Misty that I thought I had to get Ultra Defense to finish it out.
Yeah.
Well, I have one more question for you, Richard, before we finish up. You are now 2-0.
Somehow.
Who, and think carefully before you answer, who do you want to face in your next round?
I want to face someone that will have a rando experience that you know, might lead them to not want to play rando anymore because I just want to win the next one somehow, but I have no clue how I'm gonna do that. I honestly thought like Poogle is just way more knowledgeable than I am about the randomizer, and so I got like super nervous about this race because I knew that like she's gonna be going, you know, super fast, and I was just super worried about it. So I honestly don't even know. Like, I don't think I'm going to win my next race. Maybe not even the race after. But you know, I think in one of the next 3 races, I should be able to win and make it to the bracket stage. But we'll see.
Well, good luck. I certainly hope you do. With that, though, thank you for talking to us, Richard. That was
Thank
fun.
you.
And GG on your victory. Also, GG to Poogle on finishing out, getting maybe just a hair randoed, but that can happen to anyone. Otherwise, that's going to be it today as far as Ori Randomizer. But Clean, do you want to quick talk about the matches we have coming up tomorrow, or just mention what they are?
Yeah. So tomorrow, again, we got Ori Rando throughout the whole week. This is only our second of our 5th round of the Swiss. So tomorrow we got 3 exciting races. We're gonna start off at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time with Hydra Wilson. That's gonna be a fun one. And then right after we got Dedu Rory at 6, and to finish off the night we're gonna have Roos versus the Flying Marlin. So some awesome races coming up. So if you enjoyed the Ori Rando today, I mean, just keep on watching throughout the days because we're just gonna keep throwing some awesome races at you.
That's right. And on this broadcast, thank you to Muffin and Gecko in the truck for helping us with the trackers and feeding us information when we forget things, which we always do. And also thank you to Hydra for restreaming. And even though none of you saw it, taking care of some technical difficulties right at the start of the stream so that we could keep up with the commentary. So nice job there, Hydra. Otherwise, thank you for watching, everyone. There's also nothing on Speed Gaming 2 immediately at 9 p.m. Eastern. There's going to be some link to the past. So enjoy your nights, everyone, and we will see you all later.
See ya.